Emerald ash borer, or EAB for short, is an invasive pest that has created an environmental crisis in St. Paul for the past 2 decades. Since EAB was first discovered in St. Paul in 2009, our professional forestry staff have been executing a management plan that focuses on the removal and replacement of public ash trees. Our staff know as well as anyone the impact that losing trees has on individuals and neighborhoods across the city. But we have reached a critical phase in the infestation. Dead and declining infested ash trees quickly dry out and become
Looks like it is time. I'll give Sherry a second to get the official record rolling. Maybe you already did.
I just hit it. There we go.
There we go. All right, great. Folks are ready. I will call the St. Paul City Council meeting to order. Roll call.
Jalali.
Here.
Naker. Prince.
Here.
Tao. Tolbert.
Here.
Yang.
Here.
Council President Brenmon.
Here.
5 present, 2 absent, being Council Members Naker and Tao, who are both excused.
Great. Please stand and join us as Councilmember Tolbert leads us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Consent agenda items 3 through 12 are before you for your consideration.
Is there anything on consent agenda that should be taken separately? Seeing none, Ms. Yang moves consent. Roll call.
Jalali.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
5 in favor, no one opposed. The consent agenda is adopted. Item 13 is the final adoption of ordinance 21-24, granting the application of the Housing and Redevelopment Authority to rezone property at 520 Payne Avenue from L1 light or I1 light industrial to T2 traditional neighborhood and amending chapter 60 of the legislative code pertaining to the zoning map.
Right, and this, as Ms. Moore said, is before us for final adoption. Ms. Prince, do you have final words on this or just a motion?
A motion to approve and quite pleased about it.
Great. All right, so there's a motion from Ms. Prince. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Jalali,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Yang,
Aye.
Council President Brenwan.
Aye.
5 in favor, no one opposed. The ordinance is adopted. Item 14 is the first reading of ordinance 21-28, amending section 157.03 of the legislative code to prohibit parking at electric vehicle charging stations in the public right-of-way unless the vehicle is an electric vehicle using the charger station.
Great. And Samantha Henningsen is here with a staff report for this first reading of ordinance 21-28. Welcome, Ms. Henningsen.
Hello, Council President Brenmo and council members. Good to see you all. Thanks for having me today. I have a pretty straightforward staff report on this ordinance change. So basically this is amending section 157.03 of the legislative code, which is the section that governs parking regulations in the city. As mentioned in the recitations of the ordinance change, the goal of the amendments is to clarify rules for who can park at the 38 EV spot locations being planned for the St. Paul portion of the EV spot network. In order for the car share component of the EV spot network to operate optimally and for personal electric vehicles to charge, they obviously need dedicated access to the charging equipment that we'll be installing. So this new language defines what kind of vehicles can access these spaces based on vehicle definitions and state statute, and also requires that a vehicle be plugged in, not just parked at the locations. That's like for ease of enforcement, really. And then there will be 12-hour charging limits unless otherwise posted. That could be shorter in some periods, particularly during the day. And car share vehicles leased by the city are exempt from the previous time restrictions. And then just wanted to share that this amendment to the code has been vetted with Public Works, the police, and then both the civil and criminal divisions of the city attorney's office. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Mr. Tolbert.
Yeah, thank you for this. I don't have a question on this specifically, but just kind of the car share as we roll it out. As you know, I've been a supporter of this and both at the Transit Advisory Board, which helped fund this, and also today. I do have some questions though about our outreach and working with the property owners nearest to where these are going up. I've heard from some users who are excited about it, but that they were just given notice that it was being put in without any engagement on where the location exactly was. What kind of outreach are we doing to, to work with either business owners, colleges, universities, where we're placing a lot of these, so that they can at least be part of the conversation and give feedback of why a certain location might be better before that just pops up. As we all know, and it's sometimes easier to work. It's a lot easier to work with folks before something gets put in, because a small change might make a world of difference to a university or a business or whatnot, especially one that wants these car chargers near them.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yep. Agreed, Councilmember Tolbert. As in previous kind of briefings of council, the siting of these locations is highly technical. We're trying to keep them within a 10-minute walk of each other within the service area. We need to find 80 feet of uninterrupted curb. We want to be adjacent to transit. There's a lot of layers of factors. And then once we find a location, we have been sending notice to adjacent property owners and tenants within a block, and then have provided 3 weeks turnaround for people to get back to us. So we have not, reached out directly in conversation with every single neighbor, but we have, done that level of outreach. And then we did the fall open houses online, and obviously, as with everything, it's been a little bit limited with COVID. But that's kind of a high level overview of the outreach that we've been doing. I've been in conversation with the University of St. Thomas, for example, this week, and coordinating with their welcome back days in the fall and how they can get the word out on campus about the upcoming car share and EV spot adjacent to them on Selby.
So are all the exact locations set as of now, or are they still, are we still in conversations about where they could be?
We are very close. We have about 3 locations that are still a bit in flux, a couple of which are being reviewed by the Capital Area Architecture Board. And then one other that is still in flux, but we're pretty dang close.
Could you send that map? And maybe we have in the past, but I'd be curious where they are.
Happy to. Yep.
And I imagine, I appreciate the comment, Mr. Tolbert, and I imagine that probably for the next year or so, we're going to have some similar feedback about processes, because so many processes were online and they're not so obviously happening within the community. And so while where the outreach happened, perhaps it was different. And so I think we'll see an increased feedback from people that there wasn't a process, or that they wanted more of a process. And hopefully now that we're on the other side of COVID, that we will be able to do more in-person types of engagement and go back to our kind of our baseline, which I think is pretty darn good. So are there other questions or feedback for Ms. Henningsen? All right, well, we will lay this matter over for a week. We'll have our public hearing next week and then vote on our 3rd reading, because we've changed that since you sat at the council table. All right. Thank you for being here.
And again, just to repeat that the ordinance is laid over to July 21st for 2nd reading public hearing. Item 15 is resolution public hearing 21-164, amending the assessment financing internal service fund budget to establish a funding source for the 2021 Red Rock Road Mill and Overlay project.
All right, and this is a public hearing that we have held virtually. As I will look to Ms. Prince if you have comments for the public hearing before we lay over to 4th. No, we vote. Ms. Prince.
Thank you, Council President Brandmon. This is a really important move forward for the Red Rock light industrial area, because the wear and tear on that road has been intense. It's really affecting operations at a few of those businesses. And I'm grateful to the Port Authority, but in particular to the businesses who are accepting 100% of the assessment to get this work done. And we're innovatively financing it by being able to put the money up front and then be reimbursed by the businesses. So I'm grateful to our financial services staff, to the Port Authority, and to the great businesses and job providers that we have down there on Red Rock Road. And I know this is going to make a huge difference for the traffic coming to and from those businesses, to have a road that is not in really serious conditions. So it's a great step forward. So with that, I'll move approval.
Great. So thank you for the extra or the additional information, and also I appreciate the innovation of the finance department as well. So thank you. So Ms. Prince moves to close the public hearing and approve. Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Jalali.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Council President Brandmon.
Aye.
5 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 16 is ordinance 21-26, amending chapter 310.02 of the legislative code to allow reapplication within a year if a licensed applicant can provide evidence of rehabilitation as outlined in Minnesota statute 364.03 subdivision 3.
Great. And this item had a staff report last week. This week is a public hearing, which we have held virtually. Ms. Yang, any comments before we lay over for final adoption?
No, I don't have any further comments. I feel like the first week when we had this, I expressed my full support for it and I want to say thank you to the folks who have signed on as co-sponsors.
Great, thank you. And we're this is not about the particular ordinance, but still kind of working out the kinks in the new 3 reading system and how the language works around it. So excuse me while we clunk it out here as we're trying out this new approach. But so Ms. Yang would move to close the public hearing. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Jalali,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Yang,
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
5 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the ordinance is laid over to July 21st for final adoption. We now have the suspension item for reconsideration.
All right, Ms. Jalali moves suspension of the rules. Roll call.
Jalali,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Yang,
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
5 in favor, no one opposed. The rules are suspended to reconsider item resolution 21-968, adopting the report of Ramsey County elections, finding that petition for initiative to adopt chapter 193A of the legislative code is sufficient.
And on this item, I appreciate Ms. Ward 4 identifying a typo in the language on this item. And so this is just a technical change that cleans up basically a cut and paste error. And I think that doesn't change any of the be it resolved, but just one of the whereases was had a typo in it. So we're just reconsidering it to correct that typo. And Ms. Jalali would move approval. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Jalali,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Yang,
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
5 in favor, no one opposed. The resolution is adopted as amended. The legislative hearing officer recommends adoption of the following resolutions as no objections to these recommendations were received. Item 17, RLH FCO 21-63, 1075 Avon Street North. Item 21, RLH VO 21-28, 933 5th Street East. Item 22, RLH FCO 21-98, 999 Hudson Road. Item 23, RLH VO 21-23, 1017 Rainy Avenue. Item 24, RLH FCO 21-97, 802 Sims Avenue. And item 25, RLH VO 21-27, 888 Sims Avenue. And the motion is to adopt these items.
So moved by Ms. Yang. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Jalali,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tolbert.
Yeah.
Yang,
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
5 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearings are closed and the resolutions are adopted. For the following items, no objections to the legislative hearing officer's amended recommendations were received, and therefore she recommends amendment and adoption of item 18, RLH TA 21-85, 919 Clear Avenue. Item 19, RLH TA 21-84, 919 Clear Avenue. Item 20, RLH SAO 21-40, 1450 Dale Street North. And item 26, RLH TA 21-224, 1746 Sims. And again, the motion is to amend and adopt these items.
So moved by Ms. Yang. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Chilali,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Yang,
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
5 in favor, no one opposed. Public hearings are closed and the resolutions are adopted as amended.
And
That's
that
it.
brings us to when this first came through, I thought there was some mistake. It was such a short agenda, but nope, it is just a feature of July meeting. So before we adjourn, if anyone has news from the wards or from around the city that they'd like to share, Ms. Yang and then Ms. Prince.
Thank you. That was a really quick meeting, probably the quickest one we had. So I did want to share with people about the COVID-19 vaccinations happening in Ward 6. So they happen every Sunday through August 28th. And it's for anyone ages 12 and over for the Pfizer vaccine. And it's located at the Arlington Hills Community Center from 12 to 4. So hoping that folks who have already gotten vaccinated will encourage other people who still need it to go there. And if you haven't gotten it yet, go ahead and go there and do a walk-in as well.
Great, thank you. Ms. Prince?
Yeah, and I just want to announce that tomorrow evening, Thursday, July 15th, the Safe Summer Nights program will be taking place, serving dinner and providing opportunities for police officers to become acquainted with neighbors, and as part through our St. Paul parks at Battle Creek Park, 75 Winthrop Street. It's a great meal. It's a really fun event, public events. These events feature food, activities for kids, great opportunities for people to meet their neighbors. The Bearcat vehicle will be on hand and is very popular with kids. So tomorrow night, Battle Creek, 5 to 7 p.m.
Great, thank you. I have two updates. One's a retread from something I put on Facebook, but this week I cleaned out my basement, the worst job ever, and found like households, like decades of half full cans of paint and other hazardous waste. And just want to remind people that Ramsey County does an excellent job with hazardous waste collection at 5 Empire Drive. They have very convenient hours. They're open on the weekend and into the evening. Not every day of the week, but but Tuesday through Saturday. So there's some definitely good options for that. But I filled up the back of my car with paint and hazardous materials like strippers and varnishes and other cleaners and detergents that I found. And when you drive up, they come and pull it right out of your car. You don't even need to get out of your car. And then the coolest part, I think, is that on items that are reusable, they go to a shelf or a free store, basically, that's adjacent to the hazardous waste center, and people come and shop there, pick up paint thinners and detergents and mist-tinted paints and other things, so they can complete projects really affordably and reuse those materials rather than see them go into a landfill or into the dump. So a really cool thing if you're doing any of those projects to make sure that you're taking advantage of that Ramsey County hazardous pickup. And if you Google it, it gives you a complete list of where to go with items like this. And if they don't take it, they'll tell you where you can. So it's a great thing. And then second, and a little bit more on the fun side, is in Ward 4, but right next to Ward 5 is Como. They have the return of Groovin' in the Garden. And it is a wonderful outdoor picnic, great for outdoor picnic and concert, great for people who just want to be outside and do a little dancing, listen to some music. Even though it's raining, tonight's event, these are held on every Wednesday night in July from 6 to 8 p.m. And tonight, in spite of the rain, the show must go on. The Innocent Reggae Band is playing in the indoor section at Como Conservatory. So don't think that it's rained out. The party is going on, but is also the Flamin' O's play on the 21st and Kiss the Tiger plays on the 28th. And it is absolutely lovely when you go by and see the families and elders and just folks there enjoying the beautiful conservatory view and the wonderful music. So Wednesday nights from 6 to 8 all through the month of July, the game is on. Ms. Prince.
Yes, and thank you for that, Council President Brenmon. And I have one more event that is happening tomorrow at Mounds Park in the sheltered picnic area. Eastside Elders will be hosting a free box lunch for 60 guests. You should RSVP through Eastside Elders. The phone number is 763-325-3473. And there is transportation available as well. That's tomorrow, July 15th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And just reserve your lunch by calling Eastside Elders, and it will be in the Mounds Park Sheltered Picnic Area, just east of Earl Street.
Awesome. Any other news before we go? All right. Thanks, one and all. We are adjourned as there's nothing else to come before us. Have a good one. Get to grooving in the garden.
Right on.